It is the beginning of November 2025 here in the Albuquerque area. Time to look at the Albuquerque housing market data and what is going on. I've got a big chart up here. I'm going to walk you through these charts, these graphs, show you where we're at in this particular housing cycle that we're in right now. Let's start right here. Closed sales. For October, we had 822 homes that closed. So these are homes that went under contract, August, September, kind of in that range, just to give you an idea. That's down slightly, about 3% from last year. So if we go back to October of 24, it was 849 homes that closed. However, let's look at this in a little bit larger picture, which is a 3-month rolling. And, you can see on this chart, we go back to, in this case, all the way back to 2015. Over the last few years, really since 2023, we've continued to see a real moderate pace of the number of homes selling. We're basically even with last year. I'm going to give you even a bigger chart here. This is a 12-month rolling, and over the last 12 months, there have been 9,861 homes sell. That's about 3% more than the same period a year ago, the same rolling 12 months. And so more or less even. And, if we pull back here and look at this chart, you'll see since about 2023, we had that interest rate spike, the number of sales have really tapered off. It's relatively flat. I mean, we go back to the crazy years, let's just say like October of 2021, there were 15,000 homes that sold. We're now at about 10,000. So very different market. Now, something to think about here is, does this mean there's pent-up demand for both buyers and sellers? There may be. That's a big conversation that is out there in the housing market right now. All right, let's talk about new listings. This one tells a very similar story to closed sales. They're mirrored in many ways. But I'm gonna look at this big picture. We're looking at the 12-month rolling, and over the last 12 months, there were 12,899 homes that came on the market. That's up 4.6% versus the same period a year ago. We go back to really the end of 22, 23, it really dropped off and very few people were listing, about 1,000 less than right now. However, we're still far below about the 18,000 homes that would get listed every year in the Albuquerque area in the teens, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and so on. Pandemic kicked in. Fewer homes came on the market, a lot of activity, but then everybody just kind of started staying put. Okay, everybody, that's not the right word, but you know what I'm saying. The point is, people are not moving as often. People are staying put. There's this lock-in effect where people have low mortgage rates. They're not really excited about giving up that low mortgage rate. The cost of switching is quite a bit. So, they're making decisions based on the finances many times, and it may be just a life decision. I know there's a discussion out there that people that may be downsizing in that, they're in that stage of life where they might want to downsize, get into a smaller home. Well, it may not make sense for them from a financial standpoint if they have that 3% mortgage and maybe it's a larger house, but maybe the cost to move into a smaller house is still more. So we'll kind of see how that shakes out over the next few years. Really, it's going to take a few years for this to shake out and see where we're at. So there we are on supply and demand. I'll give you one more on supply and demand, actually. Let's look at the month supply of inventory. Traditionally, we would say that 5-month supply, 6-month supply is a balanced market. It's not a seller's market. It's not a buyer's market. Well, we're still less than 3-month supply. We're at 2.8 months supply, right? So this is a measurement of the number of homes on the market versus the number of sales in the months that it would take for all those homes to sell with the same number of homes and the same pace of sales. So we're in what I would call the traditional measurement. We would be calling this a seller's market. Well, it sure doesn't feel like a seller's market, and people that are selling right now know that. The pace of sales is slower. We'll look at the days on market here in a second. But again, this is average. This is not all homes, all price ranges, all areas, all views. Every home is very unique and very different. So it really depends on where you're at, especially from a price range standpoint, if you're in a buyer's market or a seller's market. But on average, I would say we're closer to a balanced market right now in the Albuquerque area. No advantage buyers, no advantage sellers. Prices are still appreciating a little bit, and the number of homes on the market is taking a little bit longer to sell, so buyers have a little bit more time. So let's talk about that. Median days on market, 22 days. What that means is half the homes went under contract within 22 days, about 3 weeks, and half of the homes took longer than that. Now, we're only looking at homes that sold and closed, right? So if we go back to, let's go back to October last year, it was 18 days, so 22% more than a year ago. If we go back to these nutty days, there were some days, at one point here, what was this, April of 2021, May of 2021, 3 days on market, on median, meaning half the homes sold in 3 days, which basically means 0 days on market. But we're not, homes are taking longer to sell, but we're not at any kind of crazy number. It's gone up a lot, obviously, since back during the pandemic. But if we look back here in the years of 2018, 2019, again, we're kind of at that pace of sales. And that holds true for the average days on market as well. Right now, 41 days in October versus, and it's about 10% more than last October. So at last October, 37 days. Again, we go back to these 2017, 18, 19. I'm going to keep saying this over and over again. Sorry about that. But those years, we're really at that same pace. I don't want to call it normal, but we're back to the same pace that we had then, because there's normal's a bad word in real estate. Unfortunately, I got quoted in the paper saying that one time, so I got to stay away from that. I got called out on that. All right, pricing. Let's jump over to sales prices. We're going to look at median. It was $364,450, and that's across both attached and detached home. That's about 1%, 1.2% higher than 1 year ago. If we look at the average price, a little bit different. It's going to be higher. It's $423,274, and that is up 3.6% from a year ago. Now, does that mean that all homes went up 3.6% last year? No. It means that the average went up that much for the homes that actually closed in this October versus last October. Now, price per square foot gives us a little bit better look at true market appreciation kind of overall. And for October, we're looking at $213 per square foot for the homes that sold. That's up 1.4% from a year ago. And I would say that is closer to what we're seeing in appreciation. I've got data that shows somewhere around 1.5% to 3% in that range. But again, across the board, averages, remember, averages are average, or not every home, every neighborhood, every price point, and so on. You get the point. All right. Now, let's jump into some future-looking data here. I'm going to pull up the number of pendings. Now, what we're looking at here, this isn't the number of the homes that went under contract at any given time. This is the number of homes that are under contract at any given time. So we're looking at, on average, over the last 90 days, there was, on average, 1,046 homes in pending at any given time, right? At some stage of due diligence period for the home purchase. Those are future closings. If we go back a year ago, that was 1,023 homes, so slightly ahead of last year. But what this tells us is over the next few months, we're going to see basically the same pace of sales that we saw last year, which mirrors really what we saw in 23 as well. So the pace of sales continues to be steady, but I'll use the word slow compared to, again, those years like, the 2015 through 2019. So looking forward, steady pace of sales is what we're looking at. Looking forward at pricing, we're going to look at median price. Let me scroll this up here. Median price of the homes that are in pending, again, of all the homes that are in pending, The median list price of those homes is $379,990 versus same period last year, $365,000. About 4%, I believe, is what that is. So that does tell us going through the next few months, we will see some year over year continued price appreciation. And we've pretty much been seeing this all year. Moderate price appreciation, not blowing the doors off, but steady. And all the forecasts are pointing that we're going to continue to see just moderate price appreciation through 2026 as well. As usual, a lot of data there. Tried to just give you the high level. There's so much more to talk about. I mean, gosh, we could talk about the 50-year mortgage. Boy, that blew up the internet the other day, but we're not going to go there. If you got any questions about real estate in Albuquerque, you can reach out to us. We're the Venturi Realty Group, 505-448-8888. And if you really want to nerd out on some market data, I've got these charts and many others at welcomehomeabq.com. And you can just go to the market tab and you'll see I've got a whole bunch of goodies there if you want to kind of dig into the data yourself and explore. Take care.